Some crimes were so perfectly executed that they left behind no suspects, no trails, and no logical explanation. Just empty vaults, missing millions, and police reports that end with the same word, unsolved. These aren't ordinary robberies. They're surgical, theatrical, and sometimes almost beautiful in how impossible they seem. From New York penthouses to underground tunnels in Brazil, these are the 9 heists that remain a mystery. Number 9. The Pierre Hotel Robbery, New York City, December 2, 1972. The Pierre Hotel glittered like a jukebox under the Manhattan skyline, the kind of place where old money came to sleep. Down in the lobby, the night shift was quiet. A few doormen, a security guard, and the low hum of the chandelier lights. At 3 a.m., 2 men walked through the doors. Both wore crisp security uniforms and moved with the quiet confidence of men who belonged there. They even greeted the concierge by name, but the smiles faded when one of them drew a gun. Within seconds, the night staff was handcuffed, gagged, and herded into a side room. The quote-unquote guards took the elevator up, not rushing, not panicking. They knew exactly which safety deposit boxes to open. Inside were millions in jewels, cash, and gold belonging to the city's wealthiest guests. They worked for 2 hours, methodical and polite. One witness later said, "They apologized before robbing us." When the morning shift arrived, the thieves were gone. They'd vanished into the city, leaving no fingerprints, no trace, no clue. Investigators called it the classiest heist New York had ever seen. The total loss? Around $27 million. Over $180 million today. No arrests were ever made. It was the perfect crime. Smooth, quiet, and almost respectful.
Number 8. The United California Bank Robbery. A few months earlier across the country, another heist was unfolding, one that made the FBI sweat. Laguna Niguel, California, a sleepy coastal town with palm trees, surfboards, and one small bank sitting on a hill. Nobody suspected it held one of the dirtiest secrets in American politics. In March 1972, a group of professional burglars from Ohio rented a house nearby. Their leader, Emil Dencio, was a meticulous planner, old school, patient, and calm. He'd done dozens of jobs before, but this one was different. Rumor had it that President Richard Nixon kept an illegal campaign slush fund hidden in a safe deposit box inside the United California Bank. If that was true, they weren't just robbing a bank, they were robbing the White House. For 2 nights, Dencio's team drilled through reinforced concrete, disabled alarms, and blew open the vault using dynamite wrapped in mattresses to muffle the sound. When they finally stepped inside, they found what they came for: $30 million in cash, gold, and bonds. They loaded the bags, cleaned the scene, and disappeared. By the time the bank opened Monday morning, the vault looked like a war zone. Burned locks, scattered cash wrappers, and a smell of smoke. The FBI called it the most sophisticated burglary they had ever seen. The crew was eventually caught after leaving fingerprints in another house they used. But the majority of the money? Gone. Some say it was buried in the desert. Others whisper it was laundered through the Caribbean casinos. But Nixon's secret stash, if it ever existed, was never seen again.
Number 7. The Hatton Garden Job. Fast forward 4 decades. Easter weekend, London. The streets were quiet. Offices closed, families at home. Perfect timing for 4 elderly men planning one last score. Brian Reeder, 76. Terry Perkins, 67. John Collins, 74. And a few others, all with gray hair and long criminal records. They weren't movie villains, just old professionals who couldn't resist one more job. They called it the Big One. Over months, they scoped out the Hatton Garden Safe Deposit Company, a vault in London's jewelry district. The building had CCTV, alarms, and a thick concrete wall protecting hundreds of deposit boxes filled with cash, gold, and diamonds. On Good Friday, they entered through a fire escape, disabled the alarm, and used an industrial drill to bore through 2 feet of solid concrete. Behind that wall waited 73 boxes of other people's fortunes. They spent 2 days cracking them open. No violence, no guns, just quiet drilling and teamwork. Then they vanished into the night. When police arrived Tuesday, they found the vault looking like the aftermath of an earthquake. The stolen goods were worth an estimated $20 million. The media called them the Diamond Geezers. The world laughed until it realized how close they came to getting away. Most of the crew was caught after bragging on hidden cameras, but at least one accomplice, known only as Basil, slipped away and was never found. Some say he was the true mastermind. Even in prison, the old men refused to talk. One of them reportedly said, "We may be old, but we were the best."
Number 6. The Graff Diamonds Heist. August 6, 2009. It was just another summer afternoon in London's Mayfair district until two sharply dressed men walked into Graff Diamonds on New Bond Street. They wore tailored suits, designer watches, and confident smiles. The receptionist even complimented their style. Then, one of them pulled out a gun. Within seconds, the boutique erupted into chaos. Staff were ordered to the floor, while the thieves demanded access to the display cases. They moved with precision, no hesitation, no wasted motion. They grabbed 43 diamond pieces worth over $65 million, and then they were gone, vanishing into traffic in a getaway car that switched drivers 3 times before disappearing completely. Police soon discovered something bizarre. The robbers weren't who they appeared to be. They'd spent weeks working with professional makeup artists, using prosthetics to completely alter their faces. Even their skin tone, hairline, and jaw shapes were fake. It was straight out of Hollywood. The police caught several suspects, but the true identities of the gunmen and the missing jewels were never confirmed. The diamonds are still out there, scattered across the black market.
Number 5. The Antwerp Diamond Heist, 2003. It was called the Heist of the Century. Antwerp, Belgium, home to the world's largest diamond district. Hundreds of millions in gems passed through the vaults every day, guarded by 10 layers of security, magnetic locks, heat sensors, motion detectors, even an infrared camera. Breaking in was supposed to be impossible, but Leonardo Notarbartolo, an Italian thief with a smile that could sell you a fake Rolex and make you thank him for it, didn't believe in impossible. For a year, he posed as a diamond merchant. He rented an office in the district, shook hands with real dealers, and earned the trust of the vault's staff. He studied every inch of the building, cameras, guards, cleaning schedules. By the time the plan was ready, he knew the place better than the people who worked there. On the weekend of February 15, 2003, the city slept while Notarbartolo's crew went to work. They bypassed the alarm by using aluminum to block heat sensors. They picked blocks, jammed cameras, and slipped through the vault door like ghosts. When they left, they carried 12 safety deposit boxes filled with diamonds, gold, and jewelry worth over $100 million. By Monday morning, the vault was stripped bare. No alarms had gone off, no one saw anything. Notarbartolo was later caught, but he only served a few years. He never revealed where the diamonds went, and none of them were recovered. He once told a reporter, "The real theft was bigger than what we took." But that story isn't mine to tell. To this day, no one knows what that meant.
Number 4. The Banco Central Burglary, 2005. Fortaleza, Brazil, a quiet, sunburned city near the coast. In July 2005, a group of men rented a small warehouse 2 blocks away from the Banco Central. They hung up a sign, Synthetic Grass Company. For 3 months, neighbors saw them come and go with trucks full of soil and plants. Nobody asked questions. Nobody knew that behind the fake landscaping business, a tunnel was being dug straight into the bank's vault. It stretched 256 feet, nearly a football field long, reinforced with wood, lined with plastic, complete with lighting and ventilation. It was engineering brilliance disguised as lawn care. On the weekend of August 6th, they broke through the vault floor, crawled into the darkness, and hauled away 3.5 tons of cash, 164 million Brazilian reals, worth about $70 million. By Monday, they'd vanished. The bank discovered the hole only when employees arrived to find the vault gutted and the floor ripped open. It took police weeks to even map the tunnel. They found soda cans, tools, and a few strands of rope, but no real leads. Some of the crew were eventually caught, but the majority of the money disappeared into Brazil's black market. The suspected mastermind was kidnapped years later and found dead. A brutal end to a perfect plan. The Banco Central heist remains one of the largest and most mysterious burglaries in Latin American history.
Number 3. The Great Train Robbery, 1963. 2:15 a.m., August 8th, 1963. The Royal Mail train from Glasgow to London slowed to a stop in Buckinghamshire, England. A red signal flashed in the night. Except it wasn't real. Someone had wired it to a battery and a glove. Moments later, a group of masked men swarmed the train. They weren't armed with guns, just crowbars and fists. Inside the mail car sat £2.6 million in cash, over $60 million today. They uncoupled the engine, forced the driver to move it up the track, and loaded the bags into a waiting truck. It took them 30 minutes. The plan was near perfect. No alarms, no police, no blood. But after hiding out in a farmhouse, they left behind fingerprints on a Monopoly board and food wrappers. That's what got most of them caught. Still, one question never got answered. Who was the mysterious Ulsterman, the man who supposedly tipped them off, coordinated the timing, and vanished before the job went down? He was never found, and the money, only a small fraction ever resurfaced. It wasn't just a heist. It was a cultural earthquake. Ordinary people loved it. The press called them folk heroes. The British government called them something else, a national embarrassment.
Number 2. The Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum Heist, Boston, March 18th, 1990, the night after St. Patrick's Day, a night when most of the city was too drunk to notice two police officers ringing the museum's doorbell at 1:24 a.m. The guards inside saw the flashing lights and opened the door. Big mistake. The officers weren't cops. They were thieves. Within seconds, the guards were tied up in the basement, while the fake policemen roamed the museum's dark halls for over 80 minutes, long enough to cut 13 priceless artworks out of their frames. Among them were a Vermeer, a Rembrandt, a Manet, and several Degas sketches, worth $500 million. They left behind no usable fingerprints. No alarms went off. No cameras recorded their faces. By dawn, they were gone. The FBI called it the largest art theft in history. The museum left the empty frames hanging as a reminder, a ghost gallery of lost beauty. Over the years, theories piled up. The Italian mob, Irish gangs, disgruntled security guards, but no one was ever charged, and the paintings have never been found. To this day, the Gardner Museum still offers a $10 million reward for their return, and those empty frames, they still hang there, silent witnesses to a mystery that's outlived everyone who touched it. Number 1. The Lufthansa Heist, New York City, December 11th, 1978. 3 a.m. in a freezing cargo terminal at JFK Airport. A van rolled up to the Lufthansa warehouse. 6 men in ski masks, carrying guns, moving like a machine. They knew exactly where to go. They tied up the guards, unlocked the vault, and in just over an hour, walked out with $5 million in cash and nearly $1 million in jewels. The biggest cash robbery in American history at the time. It was clean. It was fast. It was perfect. And that was the problem. The FBI suspected the Lekeche crime family, but everyone who might have talked ended up dead. One by one. Some found in cars, others in dumpsters, others just gone. The stolen cash vanished into the streets of New York, fueling decades of conspiracy theories and mob legends. The story became famous after Goodfellas, but the truth still buried. No money was ever recovered. No one was ever convicted for the actual heist. Somewhere out there, the last man standing still knows what really happened in that hangar and how a crew of ordinary gangsters pulled off the most famous unsolved robbery in American history. From hotel safes to underground tunnels, from elderly thieves to men in prosthetic masks, every heist on this list shared one thing: they got away. And maybe that's why we can't stop talking about them. It's not just the money, it's the idea that someone, somewhere, outsmarted the system, even for a night. They turned crime into art, precision into legend. But time has a way of catching up, even when the police don't. And so, the vault doors stay empty, the paintings stay missing, and the stories keep echoing. A reminder that sometimes the most fascinating mysteries aren't about who did it, but how they actually got away.